Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning at business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Hey guys, my name is Leia Rivera, new team player here at Rockafellas Barbershop. I'm a barber hairstylist. I do braids, blowouts, and balayages, fades, tapers, and military cuts. You can reach me on my cell, 210-570-6126, or on social media at Leia_Princess Barber 22. You are listening to I Am Refocus podcast on iHeartradio.
You are listening to I Am Refocus podcast with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune into today's podcast.
This is I Am Refocus podcast, and today we have an awesome show lined up for y'all. But before we get to the special guest, I want to thank our sponsors. First on top of the list, Mr. Rico Rodriguez himself of Rockafellas Barbershop. Shout out to him for always supporting us. If you need a haircut, make sure you stop by 1733 Babcock Rd. Also, big shout out to Ms. Kim of River City Donuts. Mr. Bebe McClinton of All Sports Speed and Conditioning. If you want to check out his portfolio with NFL and NBA players, head to allsportsfitness.net. Also, a quick shout out to D.W. Brooks Funeral Home. And last but not least, that's your business website. Need more web traffic for your business? Head over to overflowcafe.com. They have over 41,000 strong clients who've been with them since the 1990s, man. So you can't go wrong there. So today's show, we have Miss Dr. Krystal Nerio, and she's an awesome lady. She served in our military, Air Force, and she is an entrepreneur, business owner. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your time in the Air Force.
Oh, so long ago. I joined the Air Force in 98, and I was active duty from 98 to 03. I was in the Air Force, Air Power, but and then I did about 3 years reserves. So stationed in Dyess Air Force Base in Texas, Abilene, Texas, my first 3 years, and then my last tour, I was overseas in Turkey, Incirlik. So.
I have to say that you're from the east side, San Antonio.
I am born and raised on the east side of San Antonio, for Brigsby and W.W. White.
So tell us about the transitioning from Air Force to starting your business. Tell us the name of your business and how that process started.
Okay. The name of our company is Prosperitus Solutions. We've been in business about actually going on 7 years now. It was a journey. I think most military members will be able to understand that when you get out of the military, you're kind of trying to find yourself again. You've been told what to do, what to wear, where to go, what to eat for most of your time in. And so I think navigating those waters once you separate is complicated for a lot of military, or for a lot of veterans in general. And so it was job hopping, going to school, trying to figure out what was next. But along the way, I was able to pick up a lot of solid mentors that helped me, guided me. And like I said, 6 years ago, I took the leap of faith to start my business.
And what does your business do for your clients?
So Prosperitus Solutions, we are a government contractor. We do staffing for the government, anywhere from logistics, administration, to doctors, medical personnel. And we've been growing, but the core focus of my company was to hire veterans. So I'm proud to say that over 50% of our personnel, our employees, are veterans or dependents, because their spouses have trucked the way as well with them, and so they deserve just as much as an opportunity as our veterans do. So yeah, that's the gist of our company, my company.
And what were some of the challenges that you had to face when you just went right into it? What were some of the challenges you had to go through?
Oh, there's lots of them. Initially, it's the fear of starting a business. You get adjusted to a certain level of income, and when you're an entrepreneur, you don't know what your income is going to be. So it was those first couple years of managing that, and then just the fear of failure, you know. I think at the end of the day, I have a lot of, you carry a lot because you know other people's lives are dependent on your success. So it was just grinding. I mean, every day, day and night, working. My sister, she's been with me since the beginning, and it was like, you know, it was good and bad in the beginning because she's my older sister, but at the same time, we're like bumping heads and trying to make things work. But from 9 to 5, we would fight, and then at 5, we're like, all right, we're good now. Let's move on.
And what has been different for you as far as compared to being your own boss now to where you were in military, you had to go wherever they tell you to go? What's the biggest difference for you?
Oh, thinking outside the box, being a critical thinker, really just, so a lot of the military, you know, you have policies, procedures, and guidelines, and you follow those, because if you don't, you know, people get killed. You know, that's what you're trained to think. And so being an entrepreneur, you kind of got to think outside those boxes and get creative with your strategies, and really networking has been really, really big. I think that's one of the things that we fail to do a lot, even with our youth in general, is networking and the power of networking. And so as an entrepreneur, that is so key. Every day, day in and day out, is networking.
And tell us a little bit about who's your ideal client, because you have some big clients out there that's working with you.
Yes, well, Fort Sam, SAMC, San Antonio Military Medical Center, that is our biggest client we have, and that's been with me since day one. But it's recently we've blown up over there, so pretty excited about that. It's been one of our biggest accomplishments for this year. So.
And when it comes to success, you know, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that's our number one goal when we're doing business. We want to be successful. What's some of the traits that you have found to hold close to you on your journey being an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a good question. Patience, a lot of patience. And sometimes, you know, for me personally, you know, I want things now. I want to make it happen. And you have to I have to sit back and say it's not on my time, you know. So I have to embrace that and really just have a lot of patience and perseverance. I think is the second one. Is you're going to fall down a lot of times. You're going to get beat up, but you got to keep getting back up. So just being motivated and just continue to persevere.
And when it comes to persevering and patience, I'm sure you learned a lot of that in military.
Yes.
Do you have a story of a situation where you had to kind of adjust and start practicing that, your patience and perseverance?
Oh, man. Let me see. I'm trying to think. In the military. Again, so I would have actually retired if I'd stayed in this year, February of this year. It was just so funny. And I have a lot of friends that they're graduating or they're retiring now, and it's so awesome to see them, their journey. And I think for me, when I separated was probably the biggest hardship, is focusing on that patience of finding myself, who I was. And it's okay to fail. It is okay to fail, you know. That's part of the journey. So.
And do you have other friends who have a military background who started their own business as well? Like
Let me see. Have I? Who do I know? You're gonna make me go through my Rolodex. Let me see. I'm trying to think. No, but I have a lot of successful military friends. So, no, I can't say off the top of my head right now.
How do you learn from these new friends? Because it's different from having a friend that is not in business. So having friends in business is a good thing. What's some of the things that you do to connect with them and learn and be a student?
Oh, man, mentors. I have some solid mentors. Actually, I lectured in a leadership down in Laredo a few weeks ago, and it was seniors, high school seniors. And one of the things that I told them, I challenged them to do was to get a mentor. I think there's so many studies that have shown, you know, mentorship from youth to young adulthood, and the impacts that they have, and that goes the same for business as well. I surround myself with some great individuals that have helped me, and they continue to help me. And I've outgrown, some mentors, and then you continue to grow, and for every phase of your life, and they're just as important as the next. And so I've been very blessed and fortunate to have and surround myself with some solid people.
And being active as a business person, you're involved with a chamber, right?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Tell us about that chamber and what's some of the activities you all do.
So that's my latest adventure, I should say. I always think they say everything's an adventure. The Global Chamber of Commerce. I've recently became the chairwoman for that, and this chamber in specific is it's different from the others in the sense that we focus on doing business globally. So it's not just here in San Antonio. And so what it is, you join this chamber and then you have a network that will connect you. Let's say, you want to do business in Japan. They'll connect you with a network out there so that way you can help you do your business, whether it's products or services, there's no limitation. And then also it's whoever and anybody can join. So I've been really excited. We've been hitting the ground quite heavily, and Christopher Herring is our executive director. Vala Arias is our she's also on the chair as well. And so we just signed up General Powers is one of our board members, Mr. Richard Terrell as well. He's one of our board members as well. So it's been good. We were just with this, we really want to bring more business to San Antonio and also get San Antonio to get more business outside as well. I think born and raised here in San Antonio, I've seen us grow, but I don't think we're growing at the pace. Again, there goes my patience. I think we should be growing a lot faster. We should be up there with the Houston and Dallas area. And so it's going to be exciting to see how we can help this area.
And speaking of growing, I can't help but think of being outside the box, And Rico, I heard him talking earlier about getting out of your comfort zone. A lot of people don't get out the comfort zone.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that business owners that are listening to this podcast, entrepreneurs, that they can start doing to get themselves out of their comfort zone?
Oh, man. Being here was getting me out of my comfort zone. Sometimes we get caught up with working on the business, in the business instead of on the business. That's what they always told me. And so putting yourself out there, it's just exposing yourself, but being vulnerable, because when you're in the limelight, you're going to get hit with, positive and negative. And so it's just taking all of that and running with it. And again, for me, just even being here is out of my comfort zone. So, yeah.
And let's dial back to your first client when you launched your business. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say who it was, but do you remember that experience? Was it a learning curve, or was it just with the military background? How was that for you? The
beauty of it was I had been working in government contracting. It's going on like 15 years now. So it wasn't much of it was a challenge in the sense of now you're doing your own payroll, now you're doing your own HR, that aspect of it. But having, again, back to the network and those contacts and those resources, I was able to pretty much get started. Again, you have your challenges, but that's from a business side of it. But from the client standpoint, no, it was pretty seamless. So I was fortunate in that area.
When you look at San Antonio, everyone calls it a military city.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts for the future of entrepreneurship in this city? Do you see it continually growing?
Yes, of course. Entrepreneurship is such a beautiful thing, and I'm glad I did it when I did do it. In my 20s, it was really just absorbing and being a sponge and learning, and in San Antonio, I want our culture, our people here to realize that you can leave San Antonio and you're going to be okay. And again, that's one of the things that I was communicating to the ladies down in Laredo, of being a risk taker and just, I can speak for Hispanic families. Mom lives here, dad lives here, sister lives across the street, and so that's our norm. And so I really I've promoted and I preach to my nieces and nephews that I really want them to just explore and have no fear, and really once you get there, you're going to be so grateful you did it, And so, I spoke too soon because my niece, actually, she just, she joined the Army, not the Air Force, against my wishes. No. And she did it, and it was amazing to see her to take that leap of faith and just do it, and she had no fear. And I was grateful that she did it, and I really wanted her to see the world, and I wanted them all to see the world. And so, just having an impact on our youth, really, it's getting them to see outside that box, and even the, like my mother, I mean, she's so upset because she even left, and, all those things. But again, that's our culture. We want to keep them here, but at the same time, we're handicapping them.
That's true. And we are talking Dr. Krystal Nerio. You have a PhD.
Yes.
And it's in leadership. So tell us a little bit about that, and what's some of your plans that you want to do in the near future with that? Oh
man, that's a good question. You're taking me out of my comfort zone again. So I steadily pursued my education while I was on active duty. And then I went to night school. When I separated from the military, I stayed focused on that. And my mother's only goal for my sister, my brother, and myself was to get a high school diploma. That was her only wish for us, because she never did. So my sister was the first one in our family at that time to pursue higher education and get a bachelor's degree. Mind you, my sister's she pretty much raised me because my mom was always working, and so. She was, she did her degree, and then when I joined the military, every day she was like, have you gone to school yet? Have you signed up yet? I'm like, no, I'm over here, playing with M16s. I'm not worried about school right now. And then she's like, okay, have you done this? It was that thorn in your side, she wouldn't let up. So finally, I get my degree, and I give it to her. I'm like, here. I don't even want it. Like, this is for you. Like, here. So my degree was in, my bachelor's was in business. And then I think it was maybe like a semester. And she was like, all right, you need to go get your master's. You don't have no kids. You're not married. You have no excuse. Go get your master's. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I just got the bachelor's, And so here I go, signing up for my master's degree. And I ended up getting a master's in procurement and acquisitions, which was fitting, not knowing at that time, because that's exactly what I do in the government world, is contracting. And so, get my degree. I'm done. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Here's the second degree. Take it, put it on your wall. I don't care what you do, right? And then it was I think she let me alone for maybe like a year. And I'm pushing it if I say a year. And it was so funny because she was like, she goes, okay. She's like, you need to go get your PhD. And I'm like, what? Hadn't even thought about it. Didn't even dawn on me. And I was really burnt out at this point because I had been going to school full time and working full time as well. And so it was really challenging because you get burnt out. You really do. And I didn't want to do anymore. And so finally, she pretty much did everything but sign my name on the application, right? Yeah. And so they interview, and I was at Our Lady of the Lake, and I remember the weekend they were interviewing me, I was doing drills and reserves, and I had on my BDUs, and I'm sitting there, and I just remember being drenched in sweat because they're grilling me on all these questions, and I wasn't prepared because, again, my heart wasn't in it. I didn't want to be there. And then finally, it was so funny because she's the last question they asked you, they're like, so why are you here? Yeah. And I was like, oh, man. It's like, you want the honest question? You want the honest answer? And they were like, yes, actually, we do. And I was like, my sister made me come. I was like, and it was so funny. They were like, they laughed it off. And the next thing I know, I have an acceptance letter to Our Lady of the Lake. And I wasn't sure if I was going to continue it because it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. And it was my first semester in. It was after the first semester, and again, I was still on the fence with it. And my professor brings up these charts, and I'll never forget it. And he said, "Okay, well, let me show you some demographics of why this degree is important." And so he goes on to show, okay, this is how many people have a bachelor's degree. This is how many percentage of the world has a master's degree, and then he brings up and this is how many people have a PhD. And it was like 2%, right? But that wasn't the shocker for me. Then he breaks it down again, and he's like, okay, here's men, here's women. Again, it wasn't a shocker for me. But then when he broke it down by ethnicity, Hispanic, African American, and when I saw that we didn't even make a dent on that chart, I said, okay, this isn't about me anymore. This is about my nieces, my nephews, my children, my future children. It's like, it's just far greater than what I could have imagined. And so after that point, I stuck it out. I was on the extended program, mind you. It was 6.5 years to get it, but it's a 4-year program. But Our Lady of the Lake is an amazing program. It's in leadership studies. It's organizational development and psychology, and really just understanding why people do what they do and what motivates them. And so that was back in, I graduated, 2013. So going on 5 years now.
Well, you get to carry doctor. Does that make you, like when people call you doctor now, does that do anything special?
I always say, you can call me Krystal. Yeah.
But it sounds like your mom really played a heavy role in pushing you.
My sister. Yeah, my sister. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your sister.
Yeah. But no, my mom was just as important. I mean, she was my, I'd never seen somebody work so hard in their life. I mean, she always worked 2 or 3 jobs to keep us going. And I mean, it was my mother. She's an amazing woman, and that's my mom. And my dad is him too. He's actually 23 years now. He was in the Army. He served in Vietnam, and he's been 23 years sober now. Wow. And so him too. It's the power of forgiveness, because, he wasn't the dad that I grew up with, but also he's a completely amazing man now. I mean, he's into cars, he's a mechanic, and so he's a retired mechanic from the police department. Wow. And he's constantly working on cars, and again, he always has me out there. I'm like, I'm a girl, Dad, I'm not a boy. And so him and my mother's pastime now is really doing, they restore cars. So he did a 1947 pickup. He gave that to my sister. For my 35th birthday, he gave me a 1941 Chevy Coupe. And he worked on a 64 Impala, and he just sold that one. But his last project, I think, is going to be his 56 Bel Air. So, wow. Yeah. So it's been pretty exciting. We just he was instrumental too when I started my business, because had I not developed or redeveloped a relationship with him, after everything, I wouldn't have gotten to know who he is, who he really is. And so when I started my company, we needed cash, and we needed cash fast. It was one of my biggest challenges. And so I remember they were like, okay, you're going to need about $60K tomorrow. And I'm like, what? How am I going to get this money, And again, when you're starting off, you're just like, your head is everywhere. And my dad was like, I remember he sat me down, he's like, you should just stay civil service. I don't know why you just don't get 8 to 5, very non-risk taker, my father. And I remember he looked at me, he's like, is this what you really want to do? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, that's what I want to do. So I'm going to do this. And he's like, all right, we'll go to the bank tomorrow. And I was like, oh man, you talk about tears of joy and relief and all those things. And so needless to say, 3 years ago, I was blessed to be able to write him that check and pay him off. And so, wow. So it came full circle. So again, the power of forgiveness, because, he wasn't the man I was raised with, but he's an amazing man now. So, yeah.
And you mentioned that you learned some car stuff with him, right? So you worked on cars with him, right?
Yes, by force, yeah.
Oh, by force, okay. Because I was going to ask you, what were those conversations? Was he talking about life and business and stuff?
Oh, don't get my father started. All he talks about is cars. He lives and breathes cars, man. They talk about just engines, and our biggest fights are, my Camaro, he's always like, you need to put a stock engine in it and this and that and get rid of the cam, and we go circles on it. I'm like, Dad, it's a Camaro, you're supposed to have a big engine. And no, he's a very non-risk taker in his older age, so he wants a safe stock engine car.
I like the fact that you have all these different, not styles, but personalities in your life. They all play a key role in who you are today.
Very true. Yes, very true.
What are some words of wisdom that you can share with women out there who want to be in business, but maybe they don't know where to start? Where can they start to actually start making a plan?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. For me, it was really, I go back to my mentor. I found somebody that I wanted to be like. I found somebody that I appreciated his business style, his business ethics. Ethics are huge ethics. And once I did that, it's just starting those conversations of, okay, what's next? Setting deadlines for yourself and really, again, knowing that you're going to fail, but it's okay. Just get back up, You're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. I still have them. You're going to lose a lot of hair from stress, but it's okay. All those things will pass, and just never stop learning. Never stop learning. I really... I love, I've always been challenged, to try to read a book a month and really embrace that, because knowledge is power. And I say that, but it's like I tell my nephew, knowledge is power, but without execution, it's nothing. I mean, you could have a PhD and just sit there with doing nothing with it, but execution, it's all about execution.
And let's dig more into that, because a lot of people, they hear that word, but they don't really hear it. Because they hear it, but they, like you said earlier, you don't take action on it.
Yes, yeah.
When you look at when you start your business and where you are today, how does that look for you right now?
Oh man, it took me, like I said, it took me a good 4 years to get over that hump. And and don't get me wrong, there are times where you're just like, am I doing the right thing? Is this worth it? Should I be doing something different? And then it's like right when I was having those thoughts, another door opens, and or you get another break or something positive happens. And so to me, it was listening to the signs and realizing that there's a will, there's a way, and if you're doing the right thing, the doors are going to open for you. So yeah.
2 key words I picked up in this interview: patience and perseverance.
Yes.
Because when you say certain things, they come from somewhere. Yeah. Nothing is random.
Right.
Everything is a result of something that happened or something that you thought about. And I'm going to quote one of the individuals that was on this podcast. It was an NFL player. He said, wherever the mind goes, the body follows.
Oh, nice.
And that really stuck with me because I never heard that before. Mm-hmm. Would you say that everything that you started as far as making the choice to go serve the military and making the choice and transition to becoming your own boss, what was your mindset then? Was it, yes, I'm going to do this, I got this, or was it just, let's just try it and see what happens?
So, wow, yeah, okay. A lot of mindsets go through it, I think, for me. Joining the military wasn't, again, I barely graduated high school. I went to a pre-medical high school, and unfortunately, I was scraping by because I grew up on the east side of San Antonio. And unbeknownst to myself, an A on the east side is like an equivalent to a C on the north side. It's called grade inflation, which I later learned through my colleagues. And so when I get to this high school, it was a great school. I mean, at that time I wanted to be a nurse, and so, but I was there and I was struggling, and I didn't want to disappoint my family and drop out of this school because it was a different school and they were so proud of me being there. And so I graduated early. I graduated when I was 16, and like I said, I rimmed it. I just needed to cross that stage and get that diploma. And so I didn't have a scholarship. I didn't have nothing. And my parents, unfortunately, weren't. My mother wasn't financially set to send me to college, and so my sister, again, there she was. Hey, you need to join the military. Nothing's here for you, and just go. And so that's what I did. And my mindset at that time was I was just going to do my 2 years and get out, like you said, just do it and get out. But then once you're in and you develop a sense of pride for your country, you develop a sense of pride for why you do what you do. I stayed in a little bit longer, and so that's why I ended up doing 6 years versus the 4 initially. And when I got out, my mindset was survival mode. It was like, okay, I didn't even know how to pick out a suit. I remember going shopping with my girlfriend, and she was like, you can put this pink top with this black bottom. And I'm like, no, it doesn't match. It's not together on the mannequin. Like, that's how my mind was working at that time. Again, you don't think outside the box. And so once I got past the survival mode, and then it was more into, okay, what drives me? What am I passionate about? What excites me? What can I see myself getting up and doing every morning? And when I started to work for my last company in government and staffing, THI actually, Mr. Ted Terrazas, he was my mentor. He's the one that got me started, and he was like, hey, you've been doing this for so long, you need to just do your own thing. And I was like, again, I was very outside of my comfort zone, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm in school, and it's not going to happen. And he said, you just need to do it. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. And he was right. And I wasn't ready, but I still did it. And at that point, then my mindset was, now failure is not an option. You know, I have to make this work. And so, so that's kind of how, again, it was different phases of mentality, I guess.
I like that part of you're never ready.
Never ready, no.
You're never ready. I mean, that's a real good statement right there. And this is going to be a stretch, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. Before we started the show, you talked about certain sport. And I see a theme because we talked about patience, we talked about perseverance. Boxing, what's this? Oh man, I'm gonna see all my friends. You know, I get more text messages, instant messages when boxing comes on than I do on my birthday. I was like, what is it about the sport of boxing that really connects with you? Oh man, it's the intensity of it all. I mean, I guess I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, but it's knowing in those minutes you have so many minutes, and you got to get your strategy, and you got to figure out your other opponent, and I just it's been fun for me. But like I said, I think I get more messages from everybody because I have to put it out there. Canelo, it's an alleged. I'm a big Canelo fan, and he's like I said, they're always constantly harassing me about that. So we're waiting for that rematch with Triple G, and it's gonna happen. So. And two things you just said, 2 words: minutes and strategy. Yeah. And I can't help but to think that is something that we all face in life, whether 9 to 5 or your own boss. You only have so many minutes in life, and you have to have some kind of strategy. That's right. What strategy do you think most entrepreneurs that are successful, especially the ones that you have been able to interact with and learn from, what do you think their strategies have been? Like, what is the common strategy have you seen throughout the years? Oh man, it's really having the drive. I mean, to be an entrepreneur, you're not going to see the results immediately, and you are going to be at work at 6 in the morning. You're going to leave at 10 at night, and that happens more often than not. And I've seen that with all the successful entrepreneurs that I've been around. It's that drive. It's that the strategy really is setting their goals, putting it out there, you know, and surrounding themselves with a solid team. I mean, you're only as good as your team. And, you know, I like to think that I have a great, amazing team because, you know, you're only as good as your team. And so, again, it's building your team, putting your goals out there and letting everybody know, hey, this is what we're going after, and motivating everybody to get to that common goal. So every last one of my successful entrepreneurs I've been around, or my mentors, they all have that same, I've seen that same path, you know. And really, it's putting it out there, what you're going after, and then just accomplishing it. What you're saying, I would say 99.9% of every single business owner, successful person who has been on this platform has said the exact same thing. You're kidding. That you're talking about. And what it is that I'm going to get into is the word clarity. Yeah. Because a lot of times people won't pick a target out there. Right. They just walk outside blindfolded and they throw darts and hope it lands somewhere. No, you got to know exactly where you're going. That's not the way you should live your life, because we're designed for a certain purpose, and once you find your passion, you use that as fuel. Yes. To find that specific thing. Because a lot of times we try this and we try that, and we never find who we are. Yeah. Speak on that for someone in business or someone who wants to be in business one day. The importance of having that clarity and setting that foundation early on?
Yes. I think when we first get started, and I can speak for myself as an entrepreneur. When I first got started, you're all over the map. It's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna do this. Or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna potentially have a client here or whatnot. And I remember my mentor sitting me down. He's like, "What is it that you do best?" And I said, "Okay." And we jotted it down. He says, "Focus on that." He goes, "Do what you know how to do. Do what you do best." He goes, "And then once you get going, then you branch out." And so, and he was right. I focused on what my strengths were. I did that, and then once we got to a solid platform, then I'm like, all right, let's venture into this side of the world, or let's try this part, let's try this industry, and it's worked for me. And so even to now, where we've been able to launch our latest project that I'm really, really excited about.
It's like every time you say something, fireworks, I hear something else come in my head. But I could help but picture like a tree being planted.
Yeah.
Until it really takes root, you really won't be able to find exactly what you want to do in life.
That's absolutely right.
You end up spending your whole life not knowing anything that, what is your purpose. And speaking of purpose and leadership, you have something big that's going to be happening in July.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
Oh my gosh!
Because this all fits like a puzzle.
So I guess they consider me a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing government contracting, like I said, over 15 years now, and that's fun. I do what I know. I do it because I know how to do it. It's great. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy employing my veterans and supporting the mission still at the military. All over the multiple bases. But this latest project, actually, it's been a thing of my, a goal of my sister's. She's been wanting to do an event center. And so when we were looking for locations to expand on, we found one. We finally found a location. So a year ago, we purchased a building, and we've been renovating and all the fun stuff that comes with reconstruction and all that good stuff. And so in July, we will be having our grand opening, and we will be opening the Nerio Plaza Event Center. And so we're super, super excited. But it's going to be twofold, because I think you had mentioned earlier, what am I going to do with this PhD now that I have it? I didn't forget it. I didn't forget your question. And so twofolds. My sister gets to live out her dream of always wanting to be an event planner, and doing her thing. And then at the same token, this is going to serve as a platform for me to be able to do training or lectures. And I go back to our youth. When I did one in Laredo, and I was so it was how do I say it? I was out of my comfort zone because I'd never done anything like that before, but it was over 350 students, and but it was nice to see that they genuinely wanted to know, like you said, how did you get there, and they wanted to hear my story. And I never really thought of my journey as being so impactful on young women. And so when I saw, after the lecture and everything, there was a line of girls and they wanted to talk with me, and it was touching. I was very humbled by it, but at the same time, I said, okay, maybe this is my motivation to continue to do this. And so with the Nerio Plaza, now that I have a platform, what's my excuse? So we're in the works of working with some programs to be able to teach or lecture, whether it's on business, entrepreneurship, any of those things. I want to be able to do that during the day, and then at night we'll have our big pachangas, so it works in two. So yeah, the grand opening will be in July, more to come, but yeah, Nerio Plaza's in the works.
Awesome. And also for leaders out there who are going to listen to this podcast, what is the main thing that each person should keep to their core to keep their balance on this journey of entrepreneurship?
Oh man, I'm going to quote General Powers. Actually, I had the pleasure of getting to know him, and he says he told me this. He said this in his last statement to me, and I said, "Sir, I'm going to keep it. That's my nugget," and I think it's fitting. He says, "Live, give, and forgive." That's what he said to me, and I said, "Sir, you're absolutely right." this adventure of entrepreneurship, you're going to meet so many people. You're going to live. Things aren't going to go right. People are going to do you wrong. You have to forgive. But at the end of the day, too, most importantly for me is also giving back. And giving back to our community, giving back to our youth. I think, again, this is why I feel I need to be able to help and do something with the Nerio Plaza more than just an event center. I mean, this is opening up so much more, and the potential is there. So, yeah, live, give, and forgive.
Like that.
Yeah, me too. I told him I'm still in it. He said, take it.
There's a common thread on this podcast show, so I hope the listeners take notes, because the common thread I've seen since we started this in September last year, the core, the main thing, the main kick, the main spark is humility.
Yes.
Because once you get the title, a lot of times, not often, but a lot of times, well, I would say a lot of times we allow it to go to our head to the where, like you're saying, it almost prevents you to have these amazing other opportunities to connect. And that's the issue, I think, with a lot of entrepreneurs. Speaking of myself, we so focused on building the business that we don't actually connect with the human being.
Yeah.
Speak on that, how important it is for businesses out there, especially when you're building your brand, like brand awareness and marketing, the importance of connecting to the people.
Yes. Well, specifically, especially in my business, it's staffing, and our people, our employees are our business. And so if we don't, show the appreciation or even acknowledge, what they do is and how important their job is, my company is not successful. It would not be successful. And it's so critical just getting out there and talking with them and having those luncheons and having just the smallest things. And you'd be surprised at the smallest things that people would be so grateful and appreciative of. Remembering their birthdays, all those little things that matter. And it's really staying in contact with your employees. I mean, that's huge. That is so huge for us.
Again, patience. Perseverance. I'm gonna just ride on those wheels until they fall off. Because it's true, because throughout this whole show, we've been going to different stories and different places in your life, but the common thread, again, is having that patience, that focus, and that perseverance. What's some of the things that you would love to do with your PhD and with your business as far as community? What's the legacy you want to leave?
Oh, that's great. I think the legacy for me, from the business standpoint, is to giving people an opportunity and to know that there's life after the military, and also knowing that we're providing jobs here in San Antonio, and we're providing jobs. Therefore, we're prompting the economy here in San Antonio, and that's just in San Antonio, I'm saying, because that's my biggest client. But my legacy I'd love to be behind is that you can come from nothing and you can become anything you put your mind to. Literally, barely graduated high school. My parents were not very well off, and here I am. You are in control of your life, and you are in control of your destiny. And if you want it that bad, you're gonna go after it, and you're gonna make it happen. And so I think that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to inspire and to let everybody, let the youth know that anything is possible. Mm-hmm. Anything is possible.
And digging even more deeper, talk to that kid on the east side, that hears the show and says, man, I would like to do something like that one day. Talk to that young kid on the east side that may hear this podcast with some words of wisdom of what they can start practicing with habits while they're going to school.
Oh, man, that's a great question. Yeah. I have to think of what I lecture my nephew on daily. So, he's a good kid, but yeah, I'm on his butt daily. It's different. It's different with the youth today because they're in a whole nother generation of devices, of electronics, and it's completely, we didn't have any of that growing up, so that wasn't a big issue. We'd go outside and play, where they would stay confined in their rooms. And so for him, I make him read books. I don't let him, I don't even have the internet. I got rid of the internet because I'm like, nope, you spending too much time on, what is it, Fortnite these days. And so it's really, it's helping them understand that and you talking about the connection. We have so lost it with technology. It's a text message away, or it's and for me, it's so incredible. It's so important for them to get out there and network and to meet people and to surround themselves with people, not behind a phone.
Yeah. No Facebook friends.
And I think even as us, as as an adult as well, we sometimes lose that as well. I think we lose that thread of connectivity and of being able to interact, the interaction, I should say. And so, it's really work at a job that you think you're going to be interested in pursuing. Try it out. You're not going to. A lot of these kids don't know exactly what they want to do right out of high school. They just don't. And it's okay. It's like I told the ladies, I says it's okay to not know what you want to do. But again, put yourself on a timeline. All right, by this month or by this year, I'm going to try something different. And really go with what comes easy to you, what you're passionate about. My nephew, he's super, he excels in math and science. I said, all right, well, let's go with what comes easy to you. And so now we're looking at engineering, architectural. And so I think nobody ever told me that, what are you good at? What do you really enjoy doing? And nothing is crazy, whether you want to be an artist, whether you want to be, a doctor, whatever it may be, there's no crazy idea out there, there's been a lot of successful people on the wildest ideas. And so yeah, I think that's probably would be my advice.
And you'll get this next question. I'm going to ask it. I was going to ask, but I'm going to ask it now.
Okay.
When you were a little kid, what sparked your imagination?
Bob Ross, painter. I loved watching him. Yes, I loved him. I wanted to be an artist, and early on, and I loved painting. I loved watching him, and he was so peaceful. He was like my escape.
He was very peaceful.
He was so peaceful, and even he would
sleep peaceful.
And you know what? Even when he would exactly, but when he would make a mistake, he would fix it, and out of the mistake came something else. And I think I've always carried that with me. It's like you're going to make a mistake, but something else is going to come out of that, And
that's a good way to look at it.
And so Bob Ross he was good. And although I didn't pursue artist, I do love makeup, so I'm a big makeup. So I think I still channeled it through there.
Well, business is an art, and the reason why I want to ask that question is because if you think about it, those two words, perseverance, patience, listening why you like watching him paint, and you mentioned how he made mistakes, but he kept going.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, because we had a conversation past month, it seems, about, life being a canvas.
Oh, wow.
And our actions is the paint.
That's true.
And that's how we leave our mark.
Yeah.
So you're leaving your mark every single day, and you're going to leave a lot of great marks locally here in San Antonio, inspiring young people, the next generation, the future. Do you ever look back and say, wow? Or, because I think a lot of people, especially people here in San Antonio, going to just listen and say, man, that, like, wow, she's PhD, she's doctor, she's military, she's boss. Have you ever looked back and say, wow? Or was it something that clicked in one time and you just expected all this to
No, I never in a million years ever imagined myself being where I am today. Never once. And it takes people to plant the seed. It really does. And going back to what I'm going to do now, I think it's planting the seed in our youth and letting them know that anything is possible. For me, it was my sister. She was the one that planted that seed. Hey, you can do this. You need to do this. You need it wasn't you could. It was you need to. And she planted that seed, because I would have never in a million years pursued a PhD had she not, pushed me to want more and to do more. And so it's planting the seed for sure.
I like how you said what you need versus what you could.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people in business all of us have this issue. We focus on the could, like, man, I could do this, I could, versus what do you need to do now?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to time management, we haven't really touched on that, but let's touch on that a little bit. You learned a lot of time management in military. But when it comes to managing your time as a business professional, how do you even approach that?
Oh man, I'm probably the worst. I'm probably the worst at time management. It's hard to find. There's no such thing as work-life balance. I mean, I can't. I would like to think in a perfect world, yes, you have the work-life balance, but you don't. I raised my nephew, like I said, he's 17, and early on it was, you're at work, you have major projects, you got to get him to school, you got to get him to his practices, and then you still got to come home and you're trying to cook or make something to eat, and it was like. And then you're back on your laptop, and you're working again, or you're trying to, make sure you get things done. But during this whole time, you're tired. And so, I found myself, with time management is, what works for me. Everybody is different, and everybody's personalities are different. And so, I understand. I listen to people, and I'll take their notes or whatnot, their advice. But when people ask me, I always tell them, I says, everybody's so different, and it's not a cookie cutter method for everybody. But it's what I found for me. What works is getting the hard stuff done in the morning, because by the evening, by the afternoon, you're kind of you're run down, and so whatever's hot, get that done in the morning. Force yourself to finish it, get it completed, and then. More importantly, is taking the time, whether it's 2 days, a day, and taking the time to retreat, disconnect. And it does so much more positive than it does negative, because you're recharged and you're refocused. And you're a better person for it. You're a better leader for it. Mm-hmm. And so, again, everybody's different in time management. But for me, it's just, I like to work it, and then I have to then hit my wall, and I'm like, all right, let's take a day off, and then work it. So, but that's what works for me.
It still flows with the theme, because it's priorities that you have to set. And I heard someone once say, put the most difficult task on the top of the list. Yeah. Because if you put everything easy, we're going to be on easy street the rest of your life, because you're always trying to do the easiest things first versus the more difficult things. Because 2 words again, patience, perseverance are included in those tasks. Yeah. Because you learn more when you have a challenge. Yes. And you can't really, I'm still in words, but you can't really sail your boat if you don't have storms coming. That's right. You're not really skilled if everything is calm. That's right. And I love how this whole conversation is going with art as a youth and military, because business is an art. Do you think business is art? Oh, for sure. Yeah. What is the most exciting thing that you continually experience as you're running your business? What's that one thing that keeps you motivated?
Oh, man. Let me see. Well, what keeps me motivated is, when we give people an opportunity, for employment that didn't have a chance. Mm. And for me, my philosophy is, you can teach somebody anything, but you can't give them a personality, That's true. And so as I've grown my business, knowing my customer, or knowing the environment, and being able to find somebody that I know would mesh or that would excel in that area, and it's that in itself is an art, but it's knowing people, it's that communication, it's that that whole piece of it. And so when I'm able to do that, I was able to a short story. I was able to give a lady, she was a dependent, and she really didn't have skill set because she followed her husband for 20 years. And I remember she was nervous, and I says, look, I know you're a hard worker, and I know you're going to do this. It's like, just trust me, And so I walked her through the process, and I got her in, and she was forever grateful, because I was able to give her an opportunity that probably nobody else would have given her, because her resume didn't say it, And so when I'm able to do things like that, that's what makes it more meaningful. That's what makes my job, why I do what I do, And so I won't always be doing government contracting, but the time that I am doing it, I want to continue to be able to do those things for people and present opportunities.
Man, I can go over what you said about you can't teach someone to have a personality. Is that right?
Yeah.
That sounds like a book. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on any like that. That just sounds like a book title, because that is so true. You really can't teach somebody to be themselves.
No, yeah.
You have to, like we were talking about earlier about targets, you got to be very specific with your clarity on what target you want to aim for. Because a lot of times we have the skills, but we don't develop the skill.
Yeah.
And we don't, like you said earlier, we don't execute.
We don't maximize our potential.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, we are wrapping up. We're about to take the exit pretty soon, this show. But before we wrap up, is there anything else that you're in development in the future, next month or later this year?
I think I got enough right now. No, just again, thank you for having me. We're excited again. Stay tuned for next month. The Nerio Plaza will be, I guess that's the grand opening. We'll have it next month. And come out and visit me. And I look forward to chatting with everybody.
And also, how can people reach you if they want to check out your business? Okay.
Well, you can go to my website right now. It's www.prosperitussolutions.com. You can reach me there. My information's all on there. So.
Awesome. Once again, this is Dr. Krystal Nerio, and we had an awesome show. I know you all learned something. I learned something. I'm going to re-listen to this and take notes myself. What's awesome about this platform, it's like free education.
I appreciate it.
You will never get this in college.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing me out of my bubble. So.
This is Business 101, so make sure you share this with all your friends and family, especially for that entrepreneur out there. The grind is hard, but keep going. Like we always say every week on the show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.